16, 20, 19, 20 years back. And in building what is now a 4,500 people strong organization. Arun, by the way, we talked about how we have different teams. Arun is a Puneri brand. He is from Pune, and he's a Puneri Jamai, if I'm not wrong. So let's get started, Arun. Let's talk about your childhood. Let's get started from there. In Marathi, there's a saying, I don't know how to translate that, but basically, as a child, you show qualities of becoming what you're going to become. So I'm sure you must have shown those qualities. So help us understand a bit about your growing up years. How you were as a schoolboy, as in college, etc.
Before that, let me actually start by thanking everyone for giving me the honor to come here. And Ashutosh and I actually, when I talk more, you will know how we both connect before. But I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed with what I saw on the screen. I know about TiE before only, but my first meeting. So I'm not as sincere as some of the people in the front bench, Mandar, everybody, the whole team, Ankur, and even Vivek, you spoke very well. I hope some of the one-liners you don't keep repeating in every fortnightly meeting. It was nice, yeah. Yeah, Ashutosh. So, childhood. There's nothing fascinating I can tell you which will give you or anybody a feeling that there's this kid who always dreamt of building something very big. So I had a very regular, normal childhood. I'm youngest of the four. And Dad was an engineer. He used to work for BHEL in Bhopal. Then he got transferred to Haridwar, and we moved there. A very modest schooling. Then I did my engineering from a place called GP Ponce University up north. Then I went to USA and did my master's in Virginia Tech. And then worked in Chicago for a few years till '94. Then I became Jamai Raja in Pune. So there's not much beyond that. I'm a mechanical engineer by profession, yeah.
So, I know you said this earlier, so you were living the great Indian dream, a three-step dream, right? Get an admission in a US college. After that, find yourself a good job. Third thing is just live happily ever after, right? But as I know, you decided to come back to India. So, after having worked for some time in the US, what made you come back?
So before what made me come back, there's something happened before that, which is what made me go to begin with. So when I passed out, and this is back in '87, there was a big gold rush towards going to North America. So everybody would fly over Atlantic to the land of dreams. India was not happening for middle class. So there was a big stampede, and I followed that. And coming to that point that, go finish a master, get a decent job and live happily ever after. Then after 5 years of mind-numbing design engineer's job, I decided to pack up because USA was not happening for me. Missing home, my family, and just that was not the place. So one day I decided to pack up and come back to India, and limited by originality, the plan stayed same with a minor improvisation. Get married, find a decent job and live happily ever after. So this is how I came back in '94. I came to Ahmedabad because I had a lot of family there. And my brother-in-law was in stock market, so I said, this is a quick way to riches, put all your money. And this is Harshad Mehta days, and all my life savings I put in there. And before I knew, all my savings had dwindled below the comfy zone. So helplessly, I had two choices: either a history retreat back to USA, or one more shot at settling down in India. And my wife is from Pune, and we are newly married, and I got a job in Pune. So I had my green card, but I wanted to live in India, so I moved to Pune. So this is how I came to Pune to join an IT startup company. And many times I think entrepreneurs, sometimes when you're steadfast in doing what you believe you want to do, if things go wrong, we believe that we have to stay in that line. It's not necessary. If you fall, you can always get up and go in a different direction. That's what I did. I could have hung around doing exactly what I was doing, but I said, let's change, it's not working out.
Right, so that really tells us that when you were living your first dream, right? You were trying to live happily ever after in the US. Your heart was not there.
Yeah,
you decided to come back.
Figuring it out.
So basically, what we see here is if you follow your heart, it's not So the US is the land of dreams. You didn't want to be there. You wanted to come back. So if you follow your heart, it will still take you to your destiny, I guess.
Sure, I guess so.
Right.
But but I believe head is a lot more important than heart. I always believed. There is no such
conviction.
Go ahead.
So you live sort of the second Indian American dream, which is after you have stayed in the US, come back to India, get married, live happily ever after. Right? So you were working. So what was it? The third dream, build something, sell it to a Netscape or a Yahoo or a Google, make multi-million, hundreds of millions, and if you're not so lucky, tens of millions, and live happily ever after. So what got you to get into entrepreneurship? You were, from what I understand, as you're saying, this is not something you had on your mind.
Yeah. So what really happened? The company I work for, the company called Ruxens. Few of you might have heard of the company in Koregaon Park. And the way I joined it, how can you say no to flexi timing, 5-day week, free lunch, and a pool table at the reception? So it was and a good handsome salary, and it was very nice. And I joined as a QA engineer, test engineer actually, and because I'm a mechanical engineer, I'm not a software engineer. Even though I've done a lot of different kind of engineering programming in USA. So the company grew from 6 to 60, I became a QA manager, I became very senior in 6 months. And then it happened. What really happened was, this was an internet startup company. So I was one of the lucky ones who were fortunate to watch the birth of World Wide Web, the new age Big Bang. With the internet came the promise of a future which would change the way businesses transacted someday, right? So if you were, you could see that as netizens, we had an advantage over a commoner to preview the future. So, if you're a geeky, ambitious breed, it was the right time to announce your arrival. So I said, okay, and at that time, it was a big thing, all the .com, and suddenly you could see you can sit anywhere in the world and do things kind of thing. So I said, okay, this sounds good. Maybe I will develop a nice internet browser or tool or something. And there was no big vision kind of thing. It's a very simple, basic human greed, which is every normal human specimen wants quick way to riches. So I said, okay, let's develop a browser for dummies and sell it to a multinational for billions of dollars and live happily ever after. Okay. So what really happened? Entrepreneurs are like, when you think of something, so you are like a doting parent. You're so overwhelmed by the sheer greatness of your idea that you believe nothing can ever go wrong. Right? And this is very applicable to everyone. We all think like that. At that time, we are so convinced. So at that point, I was in that trap. So now when I look back, I don't know if it was a reckless act of gallantry or a freak stroke of genius. Regardless of the trigger, I decided to jump the bandwagon of bounty hunters of the gold rush of mid-90s. And this is how Cybage started. And I was chatting with someone in Salon Ke Vihar. This is where it started. And when it started, it was in a small apartment. There was another apartment, and someone told me, Mastech has started from there. I said, good omen. It's a good idea, And then just hired 4 people and didn't even know how to hire. So I put 3 criteria of hiring to qualify. I gave a written test. I couldn't interview technology people. So I said 3 criteria. 1, they should be single so that they can work harder. Number 2, they should not be from Pune so that they know social life, so they work harder. And number three, they should be men, not female, because they will have no home responsibility, so they work.